Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. Hope wherever you are it is better weather than it is here. It's pretty wet, miserable and windy in between Christmas and New Year, but still here we are. I'm a sucker for work, so we're back at it. And I'm coming to you today with a bit of a story car really, how I've ended up buying a car from auction and how I'm more than likely going to be pretty well out of pocket, and really it's my own fault. There's no one else to blame but me. I mean, you could say the auction house that I bought it from or the vendor, whoever was selling it, but there were some steps I should have taken to check all this. I guess I was kind of cutting corners trying to be too quick. And if you haven't seen my Corsa video, the £150 ex-police Corsa video I bought, again, I kind of went ahead, got work done without checking stuff over. That's my own fault. I was getting a bit too carried away trying to keep things stocked up here so that all the team have got cars to sell. And made silly mistakes, and it's cost me, and that's what happens in this game, unfortunately. You got to pay attention to the basics, I suppose. So take this video as a lesson from me. Pay attention to the basics, don't get carried away, don't forget the simple stuff. On that note, let's have a look at the car. I'm going to give you a little walk around, show you about it, and then discuss the problems and why I'm losing out so much money. Let's have a look. So the car in question is this 2013 Volvo V40. This is an R design, it's a 2-litre diesel. So quite a nice car really. I've not really had one of these in stock before, so I thought this is a very smart looking car. I quite like Volvos, although I'm quickly going off of them. I used to be a really big fan of the Volvo C30s, but I've had so many problems with like windscreens and damp in those that I've well and truly gone off of those now. Anyway, this would be the first V40 that I bought, and it's in the nice sort of Arctic white, I guess. And it looks very nice, doesn't it? I got this from auction. I knew that it needed some body work, so the things that we've done on here are the whole rear bumper has been painted. Had some pretty decent scuffs on this side. I will put some pictures up of those when we talk about it in a bit. And I can't remember, but somewhere on one of the wings or so, it might have been a front wing, I think it was the front wing, was kind of like around about this point here, was completely like rippled in and something had happened there. Nothing too major. Obviously the wheels would have probably wanted refurbishing as well. But other than that, I could see from the pictures that it looked like quite a smart car. And yeah, it needed a bit of body work, but that doesn't bother me. We were quite stocked up with stuff, so I quite like when we've got a lot of stock here, I still want to keep stock coming in. You kind of need to have a bit of a reserve of cars, because you can sell, say, 4 or 5 in a day. All of a sudden, you're paying for advertising you're not using. You almost need cars that aren't advertised that are sat there ready to go in. So if we're kind of short on space here, I'll quite happily buy cars that I know need either body work, mechanical work, maybe electrical work or something, if it's a car I actually know, and I will send it off to that person. So this car I bought, it kind of arrived, the chap said, yeah, drove on the truck fine, and I said, right, well, I know it needs bodywork, we're quite full up, send it straight over to the bodywork shop, and we'll get them to sort that out, and then it will come to us, by which time hopefully we'll have advertising slots available and we'll be ready. That was the plan. So as you can see, bodywork's been sorted now. I mean, it's still got markings on here from where it's been bought from auction, and the auction sticker, those who know will recognise these. It has come from British car auctions. Let's have a quick look inside. So it did only come with one key, which is this sort of style. Goes on the dashboard, a bit of a BMW Land Rover Freelander style setup. So we've got half leather, half sort of suede Alcantara. If it's Alcantara, it's very worn out, isn't it? It's not very flocked anymore. So the guys have started to make a bit of a job on cleaning this up, but they did stop when I realised the issues that I have. So yeah, just on the whole, it's quite a smart car, isn't it? I mean, I quite like these. They're not very exciting, but they are normally quite good features. They drive really well. They kind of do what you need to, and nicely spec'd. One downside definitely with this car is it does absolutely stink of cigarette smoke in here and ash and whatever. In fact, let's have a little look. There are quite a few cigarette burns in these seats. Well, the seats don't look in too bad condition, and the bolsters look alright. It's not the neatest, and obviously it has been a smoker's car for a lot of its life. Smoke is one of those things so hard to get out of a car. You can mask it with an air freshener. People use like ozone cleaners or ozone foggers and that sort of thing. And we've used kind of like cans that you set off. Some of them might work for a few days or a week or something, but on the whole, that stale cigarette smoke is gonna, you know, it's just gonna hang around. It's so hard to get rid of. I'm sure there are car detailers out there that know a way to do it, but it's certainly not easy. So whenever I get a car that absolutely stinks of smoke, I know that it's not going to be the easiest thing to sell, and it's probably going to sell to someone who is a smoker and perhaps doesn't mind, or probably more than likely can't smell it. It's just not something you really want to smell in your car. So if you are a smoker and you smoke in your car and you're looking to get the most out of it when you sell it, stop smoking in your car. Or at least, I know some people who do smoke in their car and it doesn't smell that bad. I think it must just be the amount of don't keep ash in your car. Whatever you do, don't keep ash in your car, please. People who've got it piled up around the seats and stuff, it's revolting, it stinks, the smell just hangs around. It's like you carrying around a bonfire in your car. It's always going to stink. So, no judgment, I used to smoke, but if you try and look after your car, here's my car tips. Don't smoke in your car. Right, let's fire this thing up. Like I say, key goes in the dashboard. I imagine we'll have to do the clutch. Let's turn the fans down, if I can figure that out. That'll be that one. So we've got a nice little media display thing here. I don't think this one's got sat nav, but it has got radio and media things. Nice Bluetooth as well, obviously. Nice little colour screen. It's not the most modern thing in the world, but it's quite nice to have. It's got a very nice digital dashboard. The car battery is low, and so is the key battery. So yeah, this is the sort of thing I'd like to have in stock. It is, as it says on the dashboard, let's clean that up so you can see better. I'm going to get you right in there. 87,000 miles, 314 miles. So I was pretty happy with this purchase, especially as it came back from the body shop, all looking nice. I just spent 600 quid on having all that paintwork done. And I said to the chaps, right, let's get it valeted properly, and we'll get pictures, video done, we'll get it online. So I was feeling pretty good about it until one of the valeters came out and said, is the mileage right on that car? And I was like, should be, and I had a quick look online. So this was sold on 87,306 miles, warranted. At auction, if they're saying it's warranted, then if it turns out at a later date that the mileage doesn't add up somehow, it's had a different set of clocks or something like that, then you have some recourse to go back to the seller and say, well, hang on, you guaranteed that this was the mileage, you knew it was. Or if it's not warranted, they're saying, well, that's what the car's saying, but I can't guarantee it, I don't know the full history of the car, and you kind of just have to take that as. You're not going to be able to go back to the seller or the auction house at a later date and say, well, hang on, it said it was X amount of miles, and it's not. They'll say, well, we did say it wasn't guaranteed. So that's that. But this one was warranted at 87,306. I paid £4,200 plus fees, which came to a total of about 4,500 basically. I knew it needed some paintwork. I knew that when I bought it. That's why I kind of bid to where I did. If we look through at the reports, I'll try and show you on the screen here some of the worst damage, but it was mainly all rear bumper related stuff. All fine. Like I say, happy to get the work done. So I checked that and I said, yeah, well, it says it's 87. What's it say on the screen? And he says, yeah, well, it says about that, but inside the door, there's a cam belt sticker and it says 185,000 miles. And I think, oh, okay. So then I had a quick look at the MOT history, which shows that the last MOT was done on 186,681 miles, which is a 100,000 mile increase over the previous year, where it was 86,685. You think, oh, well, maybe they've accidentally put an extra digit in. But if you go back through the previous one to that, 182, 167, 157, 144, 128. So clearly, it's not just a single you know, kind of clerical error where at the MOT station they've put in the wrong digit. Happens quite a lot, to be honest. They put in, you know, they read the trip computer and put in 18,000 miles when it should be 1,800 miles, or it should have been whatever, that sort of thing happens. But obviously this has had a much higher mileage, and all of a sudden it's dropped all the way back. Should I have checked the MOT history? Yes, a mistake on my part. But again, when you're trying to buy lots of cars, you're not checking everything, especially if it says it's warranted mileage. You kind of take that for granted and get on with it. And of course, I've always got the recourse to say, well, it's not the mileage, and I'll send it back. But again, I've made the mistake. I've had the bodywork done already. So I have spoken to BCA, and they've spoken to the seller, who said, yeah, we'll have it back. But I have spent out on the bodywork. So I have kind of tentatively asked, is there any chance that they might cover some of the bodywork, seeing as I've now repaired their car? But I'm not holding out high hopes. I don't think that's going to happen. Out of curiosity, once we had found that out, one of the technicians plugged the car in with our diagnostics to kind of check what happens when someone, you know, changes mileage on a car. I mean, it can be done legitimately. Say a car has a faulty dashboard and you need to put a new set of clocks in. Well, ideally you will have mileage correction done so that the mileage will be put back correctly, done by, you know, kind of people who are legitimately doing this. There's nothing wrong with changing the mileage. It's only wrong if you're trying to sell a car with having a different mileage to what it actually has, to make it more valuable or whatever. That's, you know, fraud, I guess, essentially. But there are telltale things you can look for as a mechanic, as a buyer. If you've got a decent set of diagnostics, you can get into the different ECUs in the car. There obviously are more than one. Being a diesel, things that would be quite obvious would be, look at the DPF regeneration history. It might well say that the last time it did a automatic DPF regeneration was at 160,000 miles. With the car saying it's got 87,000 miles, something's not adding up. But when we plugged this car in, half of the ECUs were locked out. We couldn't access any information from them. So I imagine someone's gone on with their software, they've changed the mileage for whatever reason, probably whoever took this to We Buy Any Car, and, you know, they've ripped We Buy Any Car off royally. They haven't done their checks. And whoever's done that for them has locked out those ECUs. So you can't get in to read the different data. So yeah, bummer. I should have checked all this stuff beforehand, but I haven't. Yeah, let this be a lesson to you. Don't take everything on face value, I guess. With that in mind, as we now know it's nearer 190,000 miles rather than 90,000 miles, a whole 100,000 extra miles. Let's have a look around the car again and see if you think, you know, it's obvious that this car's on 190,000 miles, because I don't think it is, really. Obviously there is one dead giveaway, which is this sticker here. I don't know if the camera will actually spin around. But it says that it's at a timing belt on the 11th, so literally November 2022, on 185,000 miles exactly, which is also a bit strange. And you know, when you get a car like this, where obviously it's been tampered with, what's the chances it actually went into a garage and had a timing belt on exactly 185,000 miles? It seems unlikely. I mean, it does happen. We'll get cars come in and service and you think, oh, we've written down that it's exactly 44,000 miles. That doesn't seem, you know, that's really weird, isn't it? No one's going to believe that. But, you know, it happens, I get that. But it's had its mileage mucked around with, and now it's got a timing belt sticker from a month ago on exactly 185,000 miles. I doubt that's been done either. So I say the wheels definitely wanted a refurb. They're pretty scuffed up, but they're not completely corroded or, you know, falling to pieces. So I don't think that's jumping out and telling me that this is on 187, 190,000 miles. Plastics and things look okay. Glass all looks okay. It's not scratched up and faded, and same story with all the alloy wheels as we go around, really. Headlights look okay. That's usually a pretty good giveaway, you know, if they're really faded and fog lights are full of water, but they're not. Plastics look in pretty good condition, so nothing really is jumping out saying this car's a lot higher mileage than I thought it was going to be. We'll pop the bonnet, we'll have a look under there, see if there's anything obvious there as well. Looks pretty okay. The alternator's looking a little bit corroded, but, you know, nothing to really get worried about. No major oil leaks. There's a bit of a oil leak from probably what is the oil filter housing there. Yeah, there's nothing really to report. Interesting that this is a soft engine cover. I hadn't really hadn't really come across those before. It's like a soft foam. It's interesting. It's quite nice to lean on when you try to look down the back of an engine. I'll have a quick little look in the boot as well, see what the boot floor pan looks like. Yeah, that was one thing I forgot, is that the boot floor is missing completely from this. I'm not entirely sure why. We have got a spare wheel, but no fitting kit to keep it in there, or perhaps we do. That would, I guess the wheel will be flipped up the other way, and then there should be another disc or something to go in there. But yeah, that's missing, so that would have been another expense to get done for this car to be sort of retail ready, which luckily I haven't had to do. But as you know, as you can see, it's not rusted in there. So again, nothing hugely obvious there. So I'm not going to drive this car. I have driven it before. What I can tell you about it is a bit smoky. Well, it's not smoky per se. What I find with a lot of higher mileage diesel cars, they're not smoky at all. There's no smoke whatsoever that you can see, but there is a bit of an acrid diesel smell. You know, that really kind of gets in your throat, gives you a headache. Horrible sort of smell coming from the exhaust. So that's kind of a little telltale giveaway that it's on higher mileage than it's purporting. The clutch is a bit of a weird one. It's kind of like there's no feel to it whatsoever. It's a bit of an on-off switch. About halfway up the travel, you're kind of thinking, oh, what's going on? Why is it not doing what it should be? And other than that, it drives really well, actually. It's, you know, it's a nice Volvo. They drive well, they're comfortable. They do what you'd expect to. It would still keep you safe in an accident. It's very Volvo, but yeah, obviously it's on much higher mileage. I'm not going to drive it. There's nothing much to report. It sounds a little bit agricultural. I can't tell if that's just the way these Volvo engines are. It probably is. It's not too bad. It smells a little bit. The clutch is a bit dodgy, but other than that, you know, BCA have agreed to take this car back. There's no sense me racking up more miles and then them complaining that I put more miles on it. So yeah, just one of those cars. I'm gonna have to chalk it up to a lesson. And yeah, just swallow the loss. It's the way it goes. I'll lick my wounds for an hour or two, have a cup of tea, and it's on to the next one. You can't sit around and get too upset for too long in this business, because unfortunately it happens fairly regularly, buying, you know, lemons, and you just got to move on to the next one. There's no point wallowing in it. Just move on to the next one, try and make your money back on that, and then move on from there. But I feel like, come on guys, if this hasn't earned me a subscription from you guys, click the link down there. Leave the video a like. It really means a lot. It really helps the channel out. And leave me a comment. Let me know whether you reckon you would have spotted that this car was on more than 87,000 miles, regardless of having looked at the M&T history. Just looking at it and looking at the condition. Am I a fool? Am I blind? I don't really know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I will see you in the next one.